Hi, Simona. Hi, Leonid.
Hi.
Hi, Anca. Hi, Leonid.
So this is Seafarers Day podcast, my harassment-free ship. How do we start? Would you like to introduce yourselves? Or all of us? We introduce all of us.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's...
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you, Leonid. I'm Simona. I'm in my current role as Chief Maritime HR in the Columbia Group. I'm a mother, I'm a seafarer, I'm a maritime professional for the past 20 years.
You tick all boxes.
Well, I
Yes.
boxes, huh?
Great package. And Leonid?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Leonid. I'm also a father. I am also a seafarer in my previous life, though. And I'm with Columbia 22nd year already.
Bravo.
Wow.
Bravo.
I'm is flying.
That's impressive. My name's Anca. I'm an ex-seafarer. I'm not a parent, but I've been doing this job for 20 years now on board ships and in shoreside crew management, and with you at Columbia for the last 6 years. Yeah, time flies here as well.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's great that we have you here in Columbia, both of you, honestly, because this is something which we really need. And especially you are a new addition to the Columbia family. I'm really interested to learn from you because I'm sure you can share a lot of interesting experience. You are so many years in shipping. You are very young, but you are a long time in shipping anyway.
Thank you very much, Leonid. I'm looking forward actually to the journey. So it's been a few days into the role. Definitely a new community. Yeah. And looking forward to putting to good use all these years of knowledge and experience that I have. Fantastic people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic people, fantastic community. And I think that's a good foundation for everything that we want to do from now on.
I think you are absolutely right. We are very strong in this area. People in Columbia always used to be a great asset. And we definitely need you as a maritime HR head. We all know how important seafarers are for all of us. And we all been in their shoes, so
Yes.
we know how it felt when you are on the other side of the fence. And this is what I actually hate to say. You and us, we are all same team. Yeah. And I never pretend to be more knowledgeable than any of our seafarer or more experienced. We have access to more information ashore, isn't it? And this is why we are sharing this with them. But I don't consider myself to be more knowledgeable or experienced. And our task is to help them, to support them. And nowadays, with all these challenges which they are having, with all this pressure they are having, if on top of that we have example of harassment, of bullying, it's disgusting, it's unacceptable. And we definitely need to help them in this area, although some cases are probably perceived harassment and not real one. And this is where we need probably find a way how can we help, how can we address, how can we prevent and protect them from being accused in something which they probably never did or never intended to do.
Yeah. I think we all sailed before MLC and after MLC. And with MLC, we now have a different space to address harassment, I think. There's more regulation around it, and there's more duties towards management as well to make sure that we investigate properly and we care for both complainants and accused parties. But definitely MLC is that channel that brought this at the forefront, I would say, of well-being and welfare. And we now have open reporting lines. We have tools that we place on board for our seafarers on cruise ships, which is what I work with. We have HR functions on board, and one of their main goals is addressing and dealing with harassment complaints. So I think as an industry, we are doing a lot, and we have developed a lot over the last few years to equip our ships and seafarers and managers to handle harassment cases.
And the culture plays significant role. And especially we are multicultural environment ashore and on board.
Yes.
And especially in your area, cruise vessels, the number of people and number of cultures they are dealing with, it's something which really very challenging.
If I look at our crew manifest on any given day across different projects, I think we are between 60 to 7 different nationalities on one manifest. So in that space, there's a lot of potential for harassment to happen, and not intentionally. Sometimes it's really not intentional, but it's simply because of the cultural differences that you have just mentioned. And again, part of our role is to address them properly and to make sure everyone's welcome, but also to teach our seafarers what's perceived as harassment in a certain culture. The most innocent greet, sign, body language could be very offensive to other cultures. Yeah. So with cruise ships, yes, we're very big as a crew complement. We sail together for many months. We travel the world together. So we have to be functioning in harmony, I would say. It's very important.
Yeah, definitely. We have on the conventional ships similar type of nationality mix, yes, right? And I think the cultural awareness plays a very important role, right? That's the first aspect. Second aspect, I would turn it around and I would rather focus on creating this inclusive environment for everybody to speak, for everybody to express their opinion freely. And then get the benefits out of this multi cultures environment that we operate with. So I'm a firm believer that a happy ship is a safe ship, right? Mm-hmm. A ship where there is consideration to every individual. There is consideration and respect to working together, to each one of them adding value, is a ship that performs better and it's safer, right? What does that mean? It means that, yes, you can make mistakes and yes, you can say wrong words at one point of time, but it has to be addressed then and there in a respectful manner. This is not acceptable. This is not how. And address it there together with the leadership on board and making sure that everybody feels protected.
Yeah.
So I would see the benefits of creating an environment where harassment is not encouraged nor tolerated, right?
Yeah.
When we speak about a harassment-free environment, which is the theme for the Seafarers Day, we speak about an environment where both shore team and seafarers have an obligation to contribute, right? And I think it takes both sides.
Yes.
Yes, it takes a great teamwork on the ship. At the same time, it takes management ashore to make sure that we have the proper policies, the proper training, the proper means of escalation, means of reporting, and means of investigating, right? So the whole cycle is complete only when everybody participates in it.
I fully agree, and I was listening to you very carefully, and I'll try to demonstrate this. You mentioned respect twice. And I think it's the key here. Respectful behavior this is a key in prevention of harassment. Sometimes even innocent joke may be perceived on the other side as completely unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And if we think about this, if we always have this respect in our mind, we can prevent a lot of cases which may be interpreted as disrespectful behavior or even harassment. Mm-hmm. And I think it's very important what you said.
Yeah, we actually have tools that start from pre-boarding and then on board while on contract, and then when the seafarer goes back home. So we have a lot of programs on training on cultural awareness, which are not general. They're always customized to a specific brand we work with, a specific region we sail to, a specific crew demographic or guest demographic. So we do that first. And then on board cruise ships, we have training and HR functions that address that at different levels. We train and teach our crew how to recognize and report harassment, but we also train our senior management on how to investigate harassment. So like that, we make sure that their escalation channels are in place, that they look at evidence properly, they establish that there's no malicious intent behind the report. If it cannot be done on board, it then escalates to us here. But we take so many different avenues to ensure that this right of reporting and bringing forward the grievance in good faith is actually looked after, because our philosophy at the end of the day is I care. So we try to employ that into every single course of action we take when it comes to seafarer well-being and employment and disciplinary as well, I think.
No, absolutely. And I think leadership plays a very significant role. Strong leadership will drive behavior.
Yes.
Strong leadership will make sure that people respect each other, respect cultural differences, and behave accordingly. And it's very, very important for our leaders, and each and every senior officer on board of our vessel is a leader. And if they will lead by example, we will have much less cases which sometimes worry us.
Yeah. I once worked with the captain, and I think because I was asked once to see to justify what inspired me, I think working with this captain was one of the most eye-opening experience for me as HR when I was sailing as HR, because for this captain there was no gray area in the world and there was no leniency towards anything, simply because he would then say, if I today excuse a brilliant seafarer for breaching a policy, tomorrow I have to do it for somebody else, and that's not sustainable. So as heartbreaking as it was, we actually had to move forward with a certain action. But for this captain specifically, there has never been a gray area. It was the same for everyone, irrespective of rank. Everyone would get the same fair treatment. And I think that's very important to carry over across multiple layers of leadership, not only for the captain. Yeah.
Actually, it's very important to have the atmosphere of trust on board the vessel, when people feel free to speak up, to express their concern, to express their disagreement from time to time.
Yes.
Because otherwise, when you accumulate, nobody knows when it will blow up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but this is again is directly connected to the leadership, because the leadership set the context, isn't it? And they have to set the right context on board. They have to encourage people to be open, to be open-minded, to be outspoken. And this will really create much more comfortable atmosphere for all on board.
For everybody on board.
Yeah, and this is what makes... let's not forget, people spend quite significant amount of time on board the vessel. We are sure we may be upset in the office with our colleagues with something, but we go home and we can kind of relax. These guys, they don't have this possibility. They have to, and let's face it, we are all human beings. There are people around us who we like, and there are people who we like less. Let's put it this way. And here in the office, okay, we spend our 8-10 hours in the office, we go home. These guys, they walk together, they eat together, they sit together in the mess room, and all these adds pressure.
Correct.
All these adds challenges. So that's why creating comfortable atmosphere on board will help people to remove all these additional and totally unnecessary stresses, isn't it? How to achieve it? This is a challenge.
It's definitely something we need to work on every day, right? As a leader, it's every day. One of the concepts that has been recently quite frequently used in the industry is this psychological safety, right? Which is something that we need to create for everybody within our team in order for them to feel an environment of trust, to feel an environment where they can express themselves freely with no repercussions as such, right? And I think that's critical on board the vessel as well. Whether you call it psychological safety or not, it is the environment and the rapport you create with your direct reports, right? So I can see we're all on the same page when it comes to definitely creating the inclusive environment. We were talking a little bit earlier about some stats on
Yes.
harassment,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then there is this conception that obviously women at sea get harassed. Is that the only part of the story, or?
Actually, according to my research, data shows that there's 50% of reports are from one gender to the same. So it can be men reporting men, or it can be women reporting women. It is a big misperception, the fact that we think women are more prone to be harassed and they're reporting more. I think it stems from the fact that the industry as such used to be quite male-dominated until recently. However, today the numbers of female seafarers are continuously increasing, and they will increase more and more. But I think the misperception comes from there, possibly, But I have dealt with cases when I had a man in my office saying that he's been harassed by another fellow colleague. So we had to look into it with the same approach, basically. So it's not entirely true that there's more cases of women reporting harassment. Harassment happens across any level of crew members on board and gender as well. So we have a duty to investigate them equally. Women who have been subjected to harassment cases sometimes report very, very late, years after something happened, because when you're a victim of something like that, you kind of close down and you find it humiliating, so you don't want to go and report it. But when you finally make peace with what happened and you want to report it, then management has a very difficult task of seeing what actually happened, because years back, you don't have the same evidence available. You don't even maybe have the same seafarers serving on board that vessel. So at the end, not reporting on time creates a disservice to the complainant, because years later you can't investigate and you can't provide due process.
I also feel it's reporting is actually a sign of strength.
Yes, exactly.
It takes courage to speak up. It takes courage to go through the process of documenting it, of taking an interview with the shore team.
Yes.
Of coming openly about what happened, right? And then dealing with the consequences after.
And admitting mistakes as well, by the way.
Correct.
It goes both ways, because we are all human beings. We're making mistakes.
Yes.
Mistakes are normal. The problem is how we address these mistakes, because if we start blaming people, it will not fix anything.
No.
So we don't need the blame culture. We need to be open. We should have an atmosphere where people feel comfortable to admit mistakes, and then move on. And we can learn from our mistakes. Learning from mistakes makes us stronger, isn't it?
Stronger, smarter.
And this is very important. This is very important. But coming back to the leadership, how we respond matters. And this is very, very significant, because how leaders respond on open reports from the crew members, from the colleague, how leaders respond on mistakes, it creates the atmosphere, it sets the context. And this context then drives behavior on board the vessel.
Yes.
You were mentioning the open reporting system, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about it, because it's something specific to Colombia, right?
Well, I mention open reporting in different contexts here. I mention open reporting saying the people should feel free, openly report something which bother them and what disturb them. But open reporting is something which is very important. I don't think it's only Colombia stuff. Many companies introduce the open reporting system. An open reporting system is actually giving the possibility our seafarers to report anything which they consider not correct. Initially, it was started as a environmental protection tool, but it's far more than that.
Yes.
Anything which, on the view of the employee, is considered to be not done correctly, they should feel free to report it. But in order to make them more comfortable to report it, we have very clearly defined non-retaliation policy. So even we know who reports something, it's the company policy not to retaliate on that. We accept anonymous reporting, which is also very important. And we give seafarers and employees ashore as well, many different tools, including we maintain our contract with a third party, and they can report this to the third party utilizing toll-free worldwide telephone number, and they can report it to the third party, and they will pass it on to the top management of the company, again, fully anonymously.
Yes, and I can confirm that when they come to us, there's no name, no ship, or maybe no crew ID number. It just comes totally anonymous. Yeah. I do find that sometimes it's hard to investigate an anonymous complaint because there's so much you cannot actually pinpoint. But I definitely understand the value of having the freedom to report something and being comfortable that your name is not exposed out there. I'm just thinking from an investigation point of view, sometimes it's difficult to investigate anonymous complaints, but it's within the seafarers' rights and we cater for that 100%.
But still, yes, I agree with you that sometimes you need to be more details in order to be able to complete the meaningful investigation. But still, you cannot have everything ideally set up. It's very good that people have this freedom to report it anonymously. And yes, I have seen many open report passed to us by our contractors because we set up this system back in 2013 for a good reason. And since that, they report to us on monthly basis. They provide on monthly basis a summary of reports, but reports are passed on to us immediately. But it's always 100% anonymous. Yeah. Even if I want to dig deeper into it and clarify where it comes from, who is behind, they will never release it to us. Yes. And this is part of our agreement anyway. We never tried even to ask them these questions, but even if we would, no way, because it's absolutely anonymous. Because if we will not ensure that this is anonymous, then we will kill the idea.
And no, definitely, definitely. They will lose the confidence of the employees.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. And while I understand sometimes you would need a little bit more information on the report, the trigger is very important, right? Because it triggers the management ashore to start looking into things, right? So it's a valuable tool for us as leadership.
It's very valuable.
In addition to all the other tools we have in the toolbox, right? Such as training, such as educating every layer how to escalate through the proper hierarchy, right? You don't need to go directly through the open report. If you experience something on the ship, you can go to your reporting officer, right? And if that doesn't work out, you can go to the captain. And if that doesn't work out, you can go to the DPA, right?
Not only that, all our seafarers, and especially senior seafarers, they know us. They know us either in person or have seen us or know the name. And I personally encourage all of them to feel free to contact me directly if they need to. If you take Mark O'Neill distributed his telephone number to all our seafarers. They have all our telephone numbers anyway, but he is happily offering seafarers his telephone number and telling them constantly, you need me, I am available for you on WhatsApp, on the telephone call, and number of people are contacting him. And not many CEOs doing this, by the way, but I think it's great because people feel comfortable to reach to any of us. And really, I keep telling my people that if you feel that you may need to ask me something, don't even look what time is it, 24/7. Pick up the phone and call. And if we all demonstrate our availability, our support, we will really help our guys.
Oh, definitely. I'm a firm believer that the shore organization is here to support the seafarers. So the seafarers are entrusted with $1 million of asset to take it from port A to port B, to load and discharge. we have the trust in them. We trust them with the ship, right? The infrastructure on shore is to make sure they have all the information they need, all the support that they need. So whatever time it is, pick up that phone and call whoever you feel comfortable talking to in the shore organization.
Absolutely.
Because that's why we're here. That's the purpose of our jobs, right? And I think that's very clearly shown by Mark and his availability to the seafarers, right?
But I keep saying our seafarers are the main asset of the company.
Yeah.
We are here just to support them.
Yeah.
Because important is there, important is not here. We can only help them, but the main job is done there.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
And this is something which I strongly believe, and it's very important for
I
all
think
of us.
that also shows in our HR metrics. I personally, again, on my side of the business with Cruise, I exported some for a new project that we launched last year, and I was surprised to see very high retention rates for a startup from scratch, which are positively deviating for what the trend would be on this scale of a startup. So then I was like, yes, we must be doing something right. And not only that, but we as the crew manager for a brand also have a kind of a good net promoter score. Almost 80% of people would recommend us to friends and family. So for something that is alive for 6 months in a very competitive industry, I think there's so much truth in this data, and I couldn't be prouder to see that, yes, we are there. And collectively, the entire group has been on the side of this startup since day one until launch. And I think our seafarers know all of us by now. We all showed up at some point on board, including Mr. Scheller. So they had access to all of us, and they could come and approach us for anything. And that's not only for one limited project. That's how we operate, I think, as a group.
Yeah, no, it's very important. Ladies, I think we had very, very interesting discussion. I really enjoy it. And
Likewise.
I definitely share your views. And like you said, Simona, we are on the same page.
We are on the same page. We've been on the same page for a good while now. So even in this podcast, we are on the same page.
Absolutely.
On
Absolutely.
the same boat.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
On the same boat.